Talking about the president being out of town, he's in there with the hotel today. A humorous story that I got in my email from the director of Asia Torah. Asia Torah has a big building in the old city of Jerusalem. And basically the whole old city is shut down. It's under lockdown because the president is there. And they're not letting anybody in or out. And the security forces are on all the rooftops overlooking the Western Wall. They even built a huge barrier covering up the Western Wall so you can't see it from the old city. And basically what happened was that Asia Torah is running their annual charity fundraiser today. And they need all their staff in the building to make phone calls, to send emails to... so when the Shabak, that's the equivalent of the FBI, I guess, that's who takes care of these things. Yeah. They came to Asia Torah to set up their patrols on the rooftops, and the CEO went down from his office and he told them, listen, I'm more than happy to let you use the rooftops if you release my staff at the Jaffa Gate and let them in. They said, what do you mean, you're not going to let us up? He said, no, I'm not going to let you up until you let my rabbis in. And there was a 30-minute standoff between the Shabak and Asia Torah. And then after 30 minutes, they called out at Shaar on loudspeakers, who here is from Asia Torah? Raise your hand. And everyone raised their hand, they let them into the old city. So then they let the FBI onto the rooftop. And that's an only in Israel story.
Because I heard that he was running an hour late. That's probably why.
Well,
so
it was delayed
is he gang with Netanyahu? Or is he not gang with Netanyahu? I want to know what's going on.
All I'm telling you is this is the story that happened from the old city because all my friends still live in the old city.
I saw him at the wall, and it looked like he was kind of going like that with his hand, and you couldn't tell if his mouth was.
It wasn't. I looked.
You know, most people don't know what to do at the Western Wall.
Don't know what to do, and then he took his note out and put it in the.
No, he kind of looked like he was posing.
Who was he with?
Okay, I'm not talking about the president.
And then he looked like he stepped back, and he had a kippah on. So
his wife and daughter went to the ladies section. I was impressed because normally that doesn't happen.
That's right. No other president's wife has ever gone to the ladies section.
One time I was at the Kotel, and the prime minister of Nigeria or something came. I don't know exactly who the top, whoever's the. He came, and they came with their own paparazzi, like Nigerian paparazzi, cameras and video cameras, all kinds of things like that. And basically, the president went into the men's section, and his wife went to the ladies section, but so did the security team and the photographers, all from Nigeria. It was the funniest thing ever. 3 seconds later, these guys were chased out of the ladies section by these religious ladies holding newspapers, whacking them out, chasing them out of the room. It was the funniest thing I saw in my whole life. You should see these guys running for their lives. They were not warned beforehand.
That's so funny.
That's a no-no.
But this week we're celebrating 50 years of the reunification of most of Yerushalayim.
Yes.
The reason I say most is because not all, but most. When we founded the State of Israel in 1948, we didn't have the Western Wall. We had a lot of Israel, but not
67.
Yerushalayim. And in fact, when Naomi Shemer wrote her famous song Yerushalayim Shows the Hav, she writes in there that there's a city there's a desolate wall inside that nobody prays at, nobody goes there because for 19 years it was not under our jurisdiction. And I think the Jewish people felt for 19 years that it's almost like you had a body but you didn't have a heart. I mean, the heart was still under enemy occupation. And that battle, by the way, one day I'll speak about it, that battle of 1948. The way we lost the old city.
Motigu was the general that fought there.
What were you saying?
I was in the old city in 68, summer of 68. And it was just, whoa, not only just to be there, but there were Arabs sitting on the ground and hanging out and
dirt roads still.
And the hookah. It was like.
Where was this place?
In the old city, summer of 1968. I was there.
My father went to Shiva in the old city.
They hadn't built the plaza then, right?
No, the
plaza hadn't been done. It was still the old. Yeah, no, it was a very interesting.
God, they had such a mess there.
Yeah.
It was traveling through Europe and ended up in Israel and.
1960.
Had to get a malaria shot in order to leave. They had a malaria or some kind of epidemic, and they wouldn't let us leave unless we had shots, so that we wouldn't
bring it to America.
Wow.
So 1967, we got back the Western Wall.
Correct.
I have a question.
Yes, I'm listening.
I was listening, and they were talking about the Western Wall, and they said, "Is it in Jerusalem or is it in Israel?" But isn't Jerusalem in Israel?
Mm-hmm.
Depends who you ask.
That's right.
I
Let me ask you.
I don't
Let me ask
know.
you.
The one that's streaming.
What color is this wall?
Purple.
Well, what if you tell me that it's purple and I tell you that it's white? But someone's going to insist that that wall is purple. They're even going to pass a law that that wall is purple.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Is the wall purple?
No.
Just because someone says so doesn't mean that it is.
Okay.
And the United States, well, some of it's on the floor, but most of it's in his mouth. And the United States government policy is that Jerusalem, for example, if I would make Aliyah with Elchanan Avinan, and we would have a third child, and he would be born in Jerusalem. When we come to the American consulate to get our passports, we have to decide if we want in his passport to say Jerusalem, or we want it to say Israel. They will not write Jerusalem, Israel. They'll write Tel Aviv, Israel. They'll write Haifa, Israel. They will not write Jerusalem, Israel.
Why?
Maybe
Because
that's what the law was changed recently.
This is their. The law wasn't changed.
Yeah.
No.
It was always like that. It wasn't always like this.
It was always like this.
It's always been like
It's always been like this. The American government stance has always been that Jerusalem is not necessarily a part of Israel.
Correct.
That's why America doesn't have its consulate in Jerusalem. It has it in Tel Aviv. Every other nation.
No, there's a consulate in
There's a
Jerusalem.
little embassy.
A little consulate.
Thing.
But the actual embassy is in Tel Aviv. But that because that was the guy the guy that was the Obama guy that turned around and said that he wouldn't
But
give
it's been there
permission
for years
that.
and years and years. No American administration has ever moved the headquarters to Jerusalem.
It's not gonna move.
And the bottom line is it's all one big play. America always likes to be in the middle ground between the Israelis.
He's choking.
Oh, no, it's not.
He was for a minute.
He was.
Let's take a break from these. What do you say? What do you say we take a break? Come, I'll get you something else.
Next.
You want me to get him something from the kitchen? What?
I think he needs some water.
Maybe a cup of water with a straw in that drawer, please.
He needs a sippy cup. He needs a
He
sippy
has a
cup.
sippy cup. It might be on the counter if you see it.
Ray still has more in his hand.
Yeah, you know. Is there a sippy cup? It has water in it? Let me just... Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if it's clean. That's my...
Yeah, take that one away.
Thank you, Marlene.
Yeah. He's not doing well with him today.
So, bottom line is, when they say Jerusalem or Israel, that's what they're referring to. They don't want to upset
I
anybody. They
understand.
want to be in the middle ground.
Oh, you had one more in your hand?
He hides things. You don't even know
Did
where
you
he
have
hides
one more in
things.
your hand?
There's a famous Israeli
Very
book for
smart.
kids that
You're gonna be.
in the morning a grandmother took her grandson to the zoo and she fed him a meatball and the whole day he kept it in the side of his mouth and at the end of the day he threw it away with the whole... There's some kids that know how to hide things wherever they hide. Right, this is a dairy cake if you like. It's a pound cake, but it's made with butter, so just... Okay, Jerusalem, Yom Yerushalayim. This Wednesday, Tuesday night Wednesday, is a holiday, like Yom Ha'atzmaut is, and our custom...
Jerusalem Day.
Tomorrow night, Wednesday.
Yes.
Our custom at Kehillat HaShamayim is to say Hallel. We say the Hallel prayer. It depends if you want to say with a blessing or not, but tomorrow is a special day. It's the first time in our history that we have control over Jerusalem. And even though it's still a struggle, who controls Jerusalem? Which parts of Jerusalem? What's the story with the Temple Mount? We're already there. We're doing things that we weren't able to do before. Just the fact that we're able to go to the Kotel and have a bar mitzvah there, have a bat mitzvah there, that's an incredible thing. The early years, when the British were still occupying Israel, we weren't allowed to have a minyan at the Kotel. They would always have 9 Jewish men, and if the 10th one would come in, another one would have to leave. And the fact that the Jewish people have forgiven the British so much, I don't know where it came from. The British were hanging Jews in the street, killing Jews in the
Thank
streets.
you.
It's a
I'm
I don't
glad
know why
somebody else
anyone
feels
ever
the same
considers
way.
this any kind of civilized country. England, every time the UK votes something about Israel being an occupying state, I always wonder, they look at the pot calling the kettle black. That the greatest occupiers of any other country in the whole world was the British Empire, and they have the chutzpah to tell us that we're occupying anything. You don't have to listen to them. And not just them, the United States as well. So when I was in the islands just a few months ago, you should know that the locals are not so excited to be under American occupation. They have many responsibilities and not many rights. They can't vote. If you're an American citizen that moves to the islands, the Virgin Islands, you lose your right to vote.
Really?
It's the only place in the world you cannot send in an absentee ballot from.
Then why could Puerto Rico vote?
They voted that in a number of years ago that Puerto Ricans could vote.
The initial idea was that the islanders were not considered intelligent enough people to participate in the elections in this country.
Excuse me?
And therefore, in order to not change that law, because you think like, okay, that's outdated, let's just update the law, they instead passed a law that it's not fair for the Americans to come vote over there, so they took away voting rights for Americans as well. So if you're an American citizen and you want to vote, you'd actually have to either go to mainland U.S., or I don't even know, you might have to change your
Can you
residence.
send an
You
absentee?
cannot send in an absentee ballot, no.
Well, if you're visiting, if you happen to be visiting on election day, you could send in an absentee
Could.
ballot
I don't know.
from your home here in San Diego.
Right.
But if you,
But for example, the
You're
rabbi that I met,
domiciled
the
is-
rabbi that I met there is an American rabbi, and he can't vote there. 3 years
that's because
he's
his
been
residence is in,
there. Right.
in Virgin Islands.
Well, that's not right.
So Yerushalayim, we got it back. It's a struggle. It's a process, but the redemption happens slowly. We get back things slowly. We get Israel first. 19 years later, we get Yerushalayim. We lose some territories along the way.
Yes, we did.
And you know what? It's part of a process. And I think in life, in general, people are always expecting things to go uphill. Always go up and up and up, and they don't know that life, like when you go visit a
Fluctuates.
person in a hospital. Somebody shared with me this mashal, and I told them that my rabbi used to tell us in high school.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
That's him being very happy.
He's cradling that like it's a little baby.
He loves food. It's an incredible thing. And
Good.
that's how I know he's Jewish. At least this part I
He's so cute though.
know. What I was telling you now? It was when you go visit a person in the hospital, and you'll see that the monitor by their bedside always goes up and down,
Yes,
up and down, up and
that's
down.
right.
That's how you know they're alive. The moment things are just easy, that's the worst thing we ever see in the
It's
hospital.
not there anymore.
Is that people are not with us anymore.
Correct.
And I think in life we just have to realize that when you go down, it means that you were up before. I mean, we're always upset. Why are we down? How can we be down? But that means that for such a certain amount of time I was up. And if I was up, then before that I was also down, and I'll be back up again. It's just a matter of time. The world is a cycle. It's always going up and down,
Well, it's
up
the
and
same
down.
thing with human beings, with
Absolutely.
individuals. I mean, no one has up every single
That's
day,
what
and
I'm
if they
talking
tell
about.
you
This is
that, they're lying.
That's what I'm saying.